If you want to see more clips like this and debates with your favourite content creators, be sure to smash 200 likes on this video. Subscribe if you're new. Without further ado, let's get into it. So, let's talk Illan Meslier. Where do you stand on Illan Meslier? In our fan base, in the Leeds United fan base, he's kind of overhated, he's kind of underrated, he's kind of overrated. I don't really know where I kind of sit on him. He's been here for quite a bit of time now. How would you describe Illan Meslier's time at Leeds United? Because he's been here for how many seasons now? 6 seasons, I believe it is.
6. Yeah, it is 6. Yeah, I think he's fine for where we are. I think he's absolutely fine. I think everyone's a little bit annoyed still in the Premier League relegation season because of the amount of goals that were conceded, but also the amount of first shots that he tends to concede. And some of them are savable, some of them are not, and some of them are not even his fault. But that's unfortunately, people look at the goalkeeper and go, your job is to stop the ball from going in the back of the net, while it's also other people's jobs to stop the ball from getting to that position in the first place, but they don't cop the same heat that Meslier does. I think if you're looking when he came in first to Leeds, I think he was a surprise that he went into the first team as early as he did to replace Kiko. But then Kiko had his own problems, so we had to have somebody in goal. So Mez comes in, and I think from that point on, he kind of showed that there was huge potential here. And I think every club in Europe was kind of pricking their ears to have a look on who's this young kid that's a first choice goalkeeper in England. And then he was fine the first season in the Premier League. He was really, really good. The season he got promoted, he was excellent. Not facing a huge amount of shots. First season in the Premier League, I thought he was fine. The way we play left us exposed. Second season, not so much. Third season, really not so much at all. And then the first year we were in the Championship, I think there's just an awful lot of anger towards everybody, and he was still here. So he gets it. You know, the ball goes in the back of the net. It's for sake Meslier. You know, it's straight at him. And I don't think it's always fair. I think there's times in games where there's been games last season, Leicester, both games against Leicester specifically, where only for him we don't come out of that with 3 points. He's made some amazing saves in those 2 games, and he makes some big saves, and he's a very good shot stopper in general. It just tends to be those initial ones early in the game that maybe catch him a little bit cold. We've had coaches blamed for it. We've had managers blamed for it. We've all of this stuff, but I think he's just the level he's at. I watched some Premier League football at the weekend, and I was listening to the comments about Onana in Manchester United. They spent a hell of a lot of money on him, and he got ripped apart by the pundits about not being good enough goalkeeper. He's not a top level keeper. He shouldn't be in this league, blah, blah, blah. And I think the more you kind of go around the place, the more you kind of realize, like, Ramsdale got it from Arsenal fans, and he's a decent goalkeeper. And you start to go through all the keepers, and most of them get, to some degree, most of them get blamed. But I think Mez is probably a little bit too extreme sometimes. I think the reaction tends to be explosive when he makes a mistake, but nobody says anything when he has really, really top games and when he keeps us in things. But I think for where we are in the Championship right now, he's probably as good as you can get in the Championship. I mean, most goalkeepers in the Championship are fine. He'll do a job. But I think if we go into the Premier League next season, you're probably at this point now looking at, well, we're gone beyond potential with Meslier. We're now into, we need to start seeing what we thought you could deliver. And I think when you go into the Premier League, there'll be a bigger spotlight on him and more attention on him. And I think at that stage, Leeds will probably need to upgrade the goalkeeping position. Whether he wants to stick around as a backup, I wouldn't think so. But I think Leeds would need to consider a stronger player as a backup, unless he starts to show a real increase in his potential rapidly.
Do you think he's lost a bit of his stock? As in, a few years ago, his market value, I think a few years ago, you were seeing, remember doing transfer rumours about him being linked with Bayern, PSG, Liverpool, all these big teams. And do you think a club looks at Meslier now 24 years of age, he's got tons of experience, and we've spoke about goalkeepers before, they sort of get into their primes a lot older than outfield players. Yeah. Do you think these big teams will still look at Illan Meslier in the same way?
Yeah, I think so. I think certain clubs will have a look at him. I think Paris will definitely look at him. I think clubs that don't have to defend a huge amount would see benefit in him. I mean, his distribution gets a bit of stick sometimes, but I think it's the speed that Leeds play at sometimes. I think I looked at the mistake at the weekend where he passed the ball to Ampadu on the edge of the box, and all the reaction online was Meslier. But if you listen to the actual pundits talking about it, and you look at the reaction from both players as soon as the mistake happened, no one says a word to Meslier. Ampadu gets it from a couple of players because Ampadu is like, give me the ball, give it to me. He's telling him, give me the ball. So Melia's like, well, fine. And people talk about trust between your goalkeeper and your backline. So if you want to build up trust, you've got to give him the ball. And he gives it to him. Ampadu loses it. They get a chance. But if you look at the reaction from all the defenders, there's not a word from any defender said to Meslier, You contrast that to when he makes bigger kind of mistakes, or if he doesn't come out for a ball and Rodon has to clear it, Rodon will take his head off. Or you've seen Rodon screaming at him at times. So the fact that Rodon and Ampadu didn't react at all to that, and Meslier's pointing at Ampadu, pretty much tells you it was Ampadu at fault for that one and not the goalkeeper, but the goalkeeper gets the heat because he's the one that passed the ball in the first place. So there's more to it, but I just think the distribution's fine from him. For his long distribution, I think it's actually reasonably decent for a goalkeeper. I think clubs like Paris Saint-Germain, clubs in Central Europe would still have an interest in him. He's still a long way off his peak. You know, the punching thing as well, that's not a him thing. That's clearly a Leeds directive. Klassen did it. Darlow did it. He's done it. Robles did it the last season in the Premier League. And he's massive. And he's still punched, you know. So it's clearly directive from the goalkeepers to punch it. So, yeah, we'll see if there is any interest in him. But I reckon they'd still have a sniff around him if the price was reasonable enough.
And quickly, if you could see his game, what do you think a strength is of Meslier? What do you think a weakness is? And what do you think something that Illan Meslier could improve on? For me, I think personally, his strength, I do rate the distribution. I really do. I think it gets quite underplayed of how well he can actually play with his feet. Yes, a few of the passes to the right backs and left backs sometimes go out of play, but 9 times out of 10, he's a good passer of the ball. And I know your goalkeeper needs to be more of that. Weaknesses, I would say, is the punching, but like you said, or like just the authority around the box. I think he's a big player. He needs to be more of a presence. And that's also what I would say improvement-wise. Talk more, be a presence. He's 6 foot whatever, and you need to see that a bit more with Meslier. But like you said, a lot of these goalkeepers that we've had have been sort of instructed to punch and not catch. And the one time actually Meslier caught it last year, he got sent off, didn't he, against Preston? He caught it and then just hit someone around the face. So yeah, so maybe it wasn't the best thing to start catching it. So yeah, what would you say? A strength, an improvement, and sort of a weakness in Meslier's game?
Well, I do agree on the control of his box. I would like to see him come through players and push lads out of the way and then punch if he's gonna punch, but with authority, like real. This is my zone, and you're not getting in here. That's probably one of the biggest ones that I would agree with. That I'd like to see a little bit more authority in there. Strengths wise, his 1v1 shot stopping is excellent. Like if the player gets through 1-on-1, Mez is a fantastic record against really top strikers. We saw him against Haaland at Man City as well when they got in behind, and he makes these fantastic saves. He did it last year. He's done it this year already. So his 1v1 is very, very good. I think concentration is an area he needs to get sharper at, because he's not seeing a huge amount of the ball. So when he does get those chances against him, he's got to be sharp. He's got to be ready. And I think that's part of the reason why he concedes sometimes with his first shot. He might have nothing to do for 20 minutes and then the ball hit at him at pace and he's like, oh, it's gone in. He needs to get better at concentration. But that's a young thing as well. Again, the older he gets, the more that will go away. You know, but right now, it's going to annoy fans quite a lot that he gets conceded. He concedes his first shot. But yeah, for me, very good at 1v1s. Very, very good at them. I'd like to see him get stronger with just how he dominates the box. Still okay with him punching, but just dominate it.